Your money is escaping right through your fingers every single day. The financial freedom you dream about, it's being stolen by habits you don't even realize you have. But these 20 budgeting practices, hidden in plain sight, could completely transform your financial reality overnight. Stick with me on this video because this one might actually save your bank account. And if you want more money-saving secrets like these, hit that subscribe button right now. Think of it as your first investment today. Completely free, high returns. Alright, so let's dive in. The first practice that almost nobody does is creating a budget before the month begins. Think about it. How many of us sit down a week before a new month starts to plan our expenses? Almost nobody. We react to bills as they come in, scrambling to cover costs we could have anticipated. Imagine if you sat down on March 25th and planned out every expense for April. You'd know exactly how much you can spend on groceries, entertainment, and savings. You'd be prepared for that car registration renewal or doctor's appointment. No surprises, no stress. This simple shift in timing changes everything. Which brings us to the second practice, budgeting to zero. This doesn't mean spending until you're broke, quite the opposite. It means giving every single dollar you earn a specific job. Let's say you make $4,000 a month. After allocating funds to savings, investments, bills, and spending categories, you should have precisely $0 unaccounted for. Think about it this way. Money without a purpose tends to disappear. Most people have these financial floating zones where cash just vanishes. But budgeting to zero eliminates these black holes. That paycheck comes in and boom, every dollar gets assigned a mission. $500 to savings, $1,000 to housing, $400 to groceries, $200 to fun stuff. Nothing left hanging around, tempting impulsive decisions. Now you can actually see it. That random $200 someone might be spending on takeout each month, now it's right there in black and white. Not to judge or restrict, but to make conscious choices. Maybe that takeout budget stays exactly the same because it brings joy and convenience. Or maybe half of it gets redirected toward a vacation fund. The point isn't restriction, it's intentionality. No more wondering where it all went at the end of the month. No more accidental overspending. Every dollar has a name, a purpose, and a destination. The third habit is a no-brainer, but somehow it's the one most people overlook. Using the right tools. We've got smartphones that track our steps, our sleep, even our heart rate. So why aren't more of us using apps to track our spending? A good budgeting app can call you out when you're overspending, help you stay focused on your goals, and give you a crystal clear picture of where your money is actually going. Though let's be real, technology alone won't save your bank account. That's where the fourth habit comes in. And this one takes some serious self-reflection. Knowing the difference between needs and wants. Sounds easy, right? But this is exactly where most people slip up. Think about the 50-30-20 rule. 50% of your income goes to needs, housing, food, utilities, 20% to savings or debt repayment, and 30% to wants, dining out, entertainment, new clothes. But here's the reality check. Most Americans spend far more than 30% on wants, often without realizing it. That daily latte? That subscription you barely use? Those impulse Amazon purchases? They add up fast. See, that need for the latest iPhone when your current one works perfectly fine, that's actually a want. That upgraded cable package with channels you never watch? Definitely a want. And hey, wants aren't bad. They're what make life fun. The problem is when we trick ourselves into thinking our wants are actually needs. So, try this quick test. If you had to survive for 3 months on the absolute bare minimum, would this expense make the cut? If not, it's probably a want. Food is a need, but organic acai bowls are a want. Transportation is a need, but a luxury car is a want. See the difference? Once you start categorizing honestly, you'll spot dozens of sneaky wants masquerading as needs in your budget. This mental shift alone can free up hundreds of dollars every month without feeling like you're sacrificing anything important. The fifth practice is mundane but mighty, keeping bills and receipts organized. Whether digitally or physically, having your financial documents organized saves you time, reduces stress, and can even save you money when tax season rolls around. Yet how many of us have a shoebox of crumpled receipts or an inbox overflowing with e-statements? Now, let's talk about debt. The sixth practice is prioritizing debt repayment. Credit card debt in America has hit record highs, with the average American carrying almost $7,000 in credit card debt alone. At an average interest rate of 24%, that's over $1,500 per year, just in interest payments. Money that's simply evaporating. High interest debt is like a leak in your financial boat. No matter how much you bail, you'll still sink if you don't patch the hole. Prioritizing debt repayment, especially high interest debt, is one of the most powerful money moves you can make. But it's not all about restriction and discipline. The seventh practice is actually about fun, specifically budgeting for it. The fastest way to derail a budget is to make it so restrictive that you can't sustain it. By deliberately setting aside money for enjoyment, you create a sustainable financial plan that accommodates real life. The eighth practice flips our typical spending pattern on its head. Save first, then spend. Most people do the opposite. They pay bills, buy what they need, spend on what they want, and then save whatever's left, which is often nothing. But you know what's better? Automation here. Set up your account so that money moves to savings immediately after you get paid, before you even have a chance to spend it. All right, let's talk about something most young people completely ignore: saving for retirement. I know, it sounds boring and way too far off to care about. But hear me out. The numbers are wild. If you start putting away just $500 a month at 25, by the time you hit 65, you're looking at around $1.6 million, assuming a 7% annual return. Wait until 35, that drops to $740,000. Push it to 45, you're down to about $324,000. See the pattern. The earlier you start, the harder your money works for you, thanks to the magic of compound interest. But here's the catch. It only works if you give it time. So, future you is basically begging present you to get started. Practice 10 is simple but effective: splitting your direct deposit. Most employers will let you automatically divide your paycheck between different accounts. If you direct 10% straight to savings, you'll never miss it, but your future self will thank you. Again. Now, here's where many budgets fall apart. Unexpected expenses. The 11th practice is expecting the unexpected by building an emergency fund. Car repairs, medical bills, job loss. These things aren't really unexpected, they're inevitable. Having 3 to 6 months of expenses saved is like having a financial airbag. You hope you never need it, but you'll be grateful it's there if you do. The 12th practice is planning for large purchases. Say you've got your eye on a $1,500 computer. Sounds like a lot, right? But if you stash away just $5 a day for 300 days, boom, you can buy it outright. No credit card debt, no interest, no stress. This simple shift turns those, how am I gonna afford this? Moments into totally manageable goals. Instead of scrambling at the last minute, you're in control. Now, practice 13. See, life is messy, and your budget should account for that. That's why you need a contingency fund. No, not an excuse to overspend, just a little buffer for those random expenses that don't fit neatly into a category. Because let's face it, things never go exactly as planned. Having this built-in safety net keeps your budget from completely falling apart when the unexpected happens. The 14th practice requires flexibility. Adjusting your budget monthly. Your life changes, and your budget should too. Maybe you spent less on groceries than you expected, but more on transportation. Don't beat yourself up, adjust your categories to reflect reality. This leads us to practice 15, outlining specific, realistic goals. If your goal is something vague like save more money, it's probably not going to happen. Instead, get specific. For example, save $1,000 for an emergency fund by December 31st gives you a clear target and a timeline to work with. It's a lot easier to hit something when you know exactly what you're aiming for. Practice 16 is a powerful habit that can reset your relationship with spending. A no-spend day once a week. Pick just one day where you don't spend a single dime, except for the essentials. No grabbing coffee, no impulse buys. Just a day to hit pause. This simple practice helps you build your financial muscles and gets you more mindful of every purchase you make. Over time, it'll change how you see your money. Practice 17 is perhaps the most important. Don't be too hard on yourself. Budgeting is a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. You'll make mistakes. You'll have months where things don't go as planned. The key is to keep going, learn from the experience, and make adjustments. For anyone who struggles with digital spending, Practice 18 offers a simple, back-to-basics approach: cash-only budgeting. There's something about physically handing over cash that hits different than swiping a card. Studies show that people spend less when they use cash instead of cards. Next up, Practice 19 tackles a common mistake: budgeting based on your actual financial situation, not what you hope will happen. Don't create a budget based on potential overtime or an uncertain bonus. Stick to what you know, your reliable income, and treat anything extra as a bonus, not a given. And finally, Practice 20 ties it all together. Be flexible. Your budget isn't meant to be a rigid, impossible to follow rulebook. It's a living, breathing document that changes with your life. The goal isn't to perfectly follow every line item. It's about feeling in control, making progress, and finding peace of mind with your finances. Imagine a life where you're not constantly stressed about money. A life where you know exactly where every dollar is going, where you're making real progress on your financial goals, and unexpected expenses don't throw you off track. Sounds great, right? And guess what? It's totally possible. It all starts with these 20 practices. Thanks for tuning in today. If you found these tips helpful, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more content to help transform your financial life. Until next time.